Today's game, Shadowgate, originally existed as a black and white point-and-click adventure game for the Apple Macintosh, and is a part of the MacVenture series that includes 4 games, 3 of which were ported to the NES. Deja Vu, Uninvited, and today's Shadowgate were all ported over, while the sequel to Deja Vu was the only one that was not. The MacVenture games were novel in a few ways. Compared to other classic adventure games like those developed by Sierra or LucasArts, MacVenture games were first-person perspective, and the games could be controlled by clicking on the interface and didn't require commands or prompts. This made porting them to the NES easier than many other adventure games popular at the time, but the port still had to undergo sacrifices to certain actions and environments in order to make it all work. So, with all that said, let's check out Shadowgate and see what's up. As the last of the line of kings, only you possess the power to prevent the evil warlock lord from raising the behemoth and unleashing it upon the land. You must survive Castle Shadowgate with its secret passageways, collapsing floors, and armed creatures. Do you have enough courage and wisdom to see it through? Or continues? Do you have enough continues? The answer there is yes, you have infinite continues, but the real question is, do you have infinite patience? This game requires it. At a glance, the interface and game graphics aren't that appealing, but these MacVenture games are intended to stoke your imagination as you pair what's on screen with the game's text and the ever-imposing dread that you constantly feel when entering a new room in Castle Shadowgate. This game has a reputation for being tough, and that really translates to cryptic or obscure in terms of where you're supposed to go and what you're supposed to do. When it comes to dying in the game, you will die a lot. Accept it. In fact, it's part of the game. It has a gotcha mechanic, and it wants you to go full Alanis Morissette and live and learn. And it wants you to lose and learn. And death is not punishing at all. You are simply sent back to the previous room you were in with all your items still intact. Die a million times. It's fine. You also have an opportunity to use a save file to save your progress if you want to put it down and come back to it later. That is, if your cartridge's battery still works. Mine didn't. And I found that out the hard and very sad way. But you don't need to worry about saving before trying something that might kill you, because so what if it does? Respond to the room before and try something else. There are 5 main areas of your screen. One is your first-person view, of course, and to the right is your items list, the things you have in your possession. At the bottom, you'll see a move compass, an action list, and in the lower right, where it says card, you can scroll your inventory and save your game. The actions list is the most important thing to get a grasp on out the gate, the Shadow Gate. You won't use things like leave or close very often, but everything else like take, use, and open will be used a ton. The game has a timer system that is imposed by torches. If you see a torch in the game, take it. You'll want to collect all the torches you can find. As they run out, the music will get creepy, and if you don't change it out in time, you die. Yeah, you die from darkness. So select use and then select torch to ignite a new one and save your life. On each new screen, it's worth your time to experiment with looking, taking, opening, and using. One of the more confusing mechanics is moving. There is a move option and an open option, and you can click doors on the move compass or on the screen. It takes time to get used to the order of operations and can feel a little clunky at first. There are some neat moments throughout the game, like here, where a dragon in the back of the room murders you with fire if you wait too long. The first thing you should do is grab the shield, and now the flames can't hurt you. You can also burn carpet. Just burn it. At some point you have to burn it, but a lot of times you just can burn it, and why not? You don't live here. Many traps in the game will kill you instantly, and to remind you, you are expected to die. For example, very early on, you interact with this book. Who wouldn't want to pick up and steal a book they just walked past? I do it all the time, which is why I'm not allowed back in any of the surrounding public libraries. But here, the consequence of theft is immediate death. You'll respawn back outside, and the next time you enter the room, you'll know better. That's the loop here. Try a thing, get your hand smacked, then try a different thing. Another room has a staircase leading down. Of course you want to go down there. Why wouldn't you? But if you do, you fall and die. So next time, don't do it. You get it. The script is well written and worth reading. It does a good job of presenting a foreboding atmosphere, and coupled with the music and many death traps, this game makes for a nice and spooky adventure experience. You'll face off against dragons, wraiths, you'll solve the riddles of wizards, and you'll interact with a sexy sphinx. The drawbacks of the game are that it is clunky and slow, but mostly by design. There is no NES mouse, so you're going to be doing a lot of D-padding. It works, but it is tedious. The game can be obtuse. Where most things here make sense once you figure it out, some things will confuse you even after you get it right. That's just the nature of these games, but if you do need a hint, you can press start or select, and if a hint is available, it will pop up in text. If you know what you're doing and where to go, Shadowgate can easily take you less than an hour, but your first time trying will be arduous. There are lots of forks in the path, lots of red herrings, many tough-to-solve riddles, and plenty of opportunities to die. My best advice is to be patient and maybe take the extra step of breaking out the grid paper and pencil to chart your moves and write down the riddles you find. Clues for what you should do are drip-fed to you, and sometimes hint towards solutions to puzzles you've yet to encounter, so jotting down notes can go a long way. When it comes to the music and sounds in the game, well, you better get used to it. It definitely fits the vibe and is iconic in its own right, but you'll hear a ton of it, and this is not one of those games where opting to play it without sound works because of the warning music you need to listen out for in some instances. Point-and-click adventure games are not everyone's bag, and that's understandable, especially when you have to control the cursor with the NES's 4-way D-pad. That makes these sloggy experiences even sloggier, but in defense of Shadowgate, punishment is light, the game moves fast and that room transitions are fairly snappy, and it's a rewarding experience to get through. So, if you're looking for an adventure game, specifically of the point-and-click variety, a lot of folks say this is the best of the MacVenture ports on the NES. I've not played the others enough yet to have formed my opinion, but this one certainly is good, especially if you're looking for something to fit into your gaming rotation around Halloween. There are a pair of sequels to this one. The first, Beyond Shadowgate, released on the TurboGrafx, and the second, Shadowgate 64 Trials of the Four Towers, released in 1999. There is also the 2014 remake as well. Well, that's going to do it for Shadowgate on the NES. As always, check under the rug, and thanks for watching.